Sellers want to and often need to sell their home. So, you dragging your feet is going to increase the possibility that you lose the home that you've had an offer accepted on. I'm going to talk through a few things. This will be very helpful for first time buyers, but anyone looking to buy a home, not so much remortgage it, but if you're looking to buy a home, here are some things that will probably cause you to lose that home if you don't do them correctly. About 50% of mortgage deals do not go through. So that's about half. And it's either because of the seller, because of the buyer, or some other things can happen. But I've seen it happen countless times where you have a really excited buyer who's got a mortgage offer accepted and they drag their feet. They don't do the things that they need to do. And probably usually because they haven't done things in the right order. I'm going to help you avoid that. My name is Anthony Lindsay, and I've been in finance for over 30 years. I help first time buyers. I help anyone who's looking to buy a property do it quickly and efficiently and save as much money as possible. So, here are some of the reasons why you might be dragging your feet and the things that actually delay a mortgage deal. First and foremost, the credit report. Make sure you get your credit report from checkmyfile.com. You will find that most mortgage brokers work with checkmyfile.com. And the reason is it has all three bureaus. So it has Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. It will also let us know if there have been any searches under your name. It will also let us know if you're on the voters roll. It will help us know if you have CCJs, anything like that. So it's going to give us a comprehensive overview of your financial situation. Don't delay. Don't do this thing where, oh, I'll get it to you when I get it to you. Get your credit report first. You should probably get your credit report before you even speak to a broker. That way, if there's things on there that you need to resolve, you can resolve them in advance. So make sure you get your credit report before you start the mortgage process. The other thing that causes problems is ID and visa. So, what can happen is people sometimes send over their ID and it's blurry or it has glare or it's something that the lender cannot use. So, make sure you're sending over a good copy of your ID. By ID, I mean your passport. When you're sending over your passport, make sure that all four corners of the passport are showing. And I would suggest this: if you can get to a scanner, use a scanner. Put the passport in the middle of an A4 sheet of paper with at least 2 to 3 inches of white space all the way around the document. That way, if it needs to be certified, it can be certified. So make sure you have a good copy of your passport. It's so hard to do if you're just taking a picture with your phone. This also goes for your driver's license. Most cases, you're going to need your passport and your driver's license. So if you have both of those, have them ready, have a quality copy, make sure they're in date. And if you've moved, make sure your driver's license has your correct and current address on it. Because if it doesn't, it's useless. If it's expired, it's useless. And if you don't have a UK passport, you will need to provide your visa. This can be done by going to the government website and getting an S code or a share code for your broker or for the lender. That share code will generate a number, and that number can be used for us to verify to see what kind of visa you have, what you're entitled to. So if you're preparing for a mortgage, before you do anything, before you go and look for a house, before you make an offer, make sure you have quality copies of your ID to send to the mortgage broker. Some of us use some online apps like Credas and Ofidus or something like that. But even if you're using that, make sure you have good quality copies of your ID ready that you can send those over. Make sure that you have the actual document with you because you will need to scan that in a lot of cases. So make sure you have ID. And if you don't have a UK passport, make sure you have a visa and make sure everything is in date. If it's out of date, if it has the wrong address, it's pointless, it's useless, and it cannot be used. So make sure you have ID. The other thing that causes delays, and it's a really silly thing. I've been in banking for over 30 years. And when I first started in banking, they didn't have online access to your bank accounts. So the other thing that causes delays is your bank accounts. It's something as simple as being able to provide 3 months worth of bank statements. That's 3 months worth of bank statements causes so many delays. I don't know why. Maybe it's because sometimes people are a little bit embarrassed about showing some of the transactions on their bank statement. But you need 3 months of bank statements. So 3 months. So that's 3 full months, the most recent 3 months, not 1 week, not 2.5 weeks. 3 months. And it needs to show all the transactions. You can't redact transactions. So make sure you're providing the full statement as a statement, not just as transactions. And here's a tip: if you are transferring money in and out, so you get paid into one bank account, you then transfer into another bank account to pay your bills, nothing wrong with that. I do that. You're going to need to provide both bank statements. The reason why lenders need the bank statements is to see how your money is going in and going out. If you have random payments coming in from random accounts, you may be asked to provide 3 months worth of bank statements for those accounts as well. So make sure what you're providing is genuine, because some lenders will use something called open banking. It makes it a lot easier for you. You give them permission to access your bank statements. That way you don't need to send them over. But if you're working with me, you will need to provide 3 months of bank statements and related bank statements. With this said, if your savings for your deposit is not in your current account, which it shouldn't be, it really should be in a savings account, you're going to need to provide that as well. So believe it or not, just a client providing 3 months worth of bank statements causes huge delays in getting the application up and running. So make sure you have 3 months of bank statements, the most current 3 months. Make sure the copies are good, make sure it's a PDF, and make sure that it's consecutive with no missing days. Pay slips. How can someone not have access to their pay slips? I'm recording this video in 2025, and everyone I know that has a job pretty much has access to some type of online portal to get their pay slips. So you're going to need 3 months worth of pay slips. So that's 3 full months, just like your bank statements. So if you're paid weekly, you're going to need 3 months worth of your weekly. If you're paid bi-weekly, 3 months worth of your bi-weekly income. If you're paid monthly, it's simple. You just need three. So make sure you access 3 months worth of your bank statements. You'll send them over to the broker. Also, if you do a lot of overtime, you may be asked to provide your P60s. The reason why that is because your P60 will give an overview or an assessment of how much you made the previous tax year. So if you're someone that's on a base salary of, let's just say, 48,000, and you're a nurse, you work for the NHS or something like that. Let's just say you do that. Then your P60 might show that you actually made 65,000. So the P60 will help us get you more affordability if you are someone that's a salaried employee, but you also do a lot of overtime. So 3 months worth of bank statements, 3 months worth of pay slips, your ID and your passport. These are all required to do a mortgage. In reference to your pay slips, the pay slips will also help us assess what tax band you're in, also your NI number, any benefits you have, any student loans you pay. And so it's super important. You can delay your deal, getting your mortgage, and possibly lose the home you want just because you don't provide pay slips. And pay slips are easy to get. Pay slips are a necessary part of the mortgage process. Proof of address. You're going to need proof of address to get a mortgage. Proof of address is usually a utility bill or a council tax bill. Keep in mind that most lenders do not accept mobile phone bills. So you're going to need a utility bill or council tax. And most lenders won't allow you to use one document to serve two purposes. So you couldn't use, let's just say, your bank statement as your bank statement and also use it as proof of address. So be ready with proof of address. Sometimes this can be electronically verified if you're on the voters roll. But if you don't want to lose that home because they're holding up for one piece of paper, then make sure you have these things in advance. It's very simple. If you're paying bills, maybe you pay quarterly, make sure you provide the most recent bill, utility bill, not a mobile phone bill, because most lenders are not going to accept a mobile phone bill as proof of your address. Here's the other one, proof of deposit. You're buying a house. Come on, you're buying a house. You've said that you have a deposit. You're going to need to provide evidence of that deposit. So, evidence of that deposit would be your savings account. I always recommend to people that the current account probably isn't giving you the best interest rate that you can get. So, do your research, because I'm not giving tax advice, I'm not giving legal advice, and I'm not giving financial advice. It's just common sense. You should shop around for the best savings rate and put your money in that account. So, what the lender is going to want to see is that you have the deposit that you say you have. They also want to see how that money was built up. That's why the best way of saving for your home is having a savings account. You get your salary each month, you transfer money into that savings account. We can see how it is built up. If you're getting a gift from a friend or family member, disclose this to the broker very early, because some lenders will not accept gifted deposits from people that aren't family members. Some lenders will not accept gifted deposits as the full deposit for the property. So it's a good thing to disclose early to the broker, that the broker can then find the lender that is going to match the needs that you have. With gifted letters, the gifted letter is going to be required as for the lender, for the broker, and also for the solicitor. But it's a gift, it's not a loan. So if you have a parent that's gifting you some money, they will need to provide a gift letter. In some cases, they'll need to provide bank statements, again, to verify how that money was built up. But proof of deposit is so important when you're getting a mortgage. So if you're starting the mortgage process and you know that your money is in a lot of different places and you haven't had time to put them all in one account, it might take you a little bit longer to gather those documents because they're in more than one account. But make sure that you have access to proof of deposit. Proof of deposit. Make sure it's clean. If you have money coming from outside of the country, you might want to make those arrangements earlier, because, again, there needs to be an audit trail. They'll need to do anti-money laundering. Certain countries are sanctioned. So disclose this to your broker very early. When you're working with a mortgage broker, it's vital that you are honest, you are open. As mortgage brokers, we have specialist lenders that can help with pretty much any legal circumstance. So just be honest with us. We'll be able to narrow in on the right lender from very early. That way you can help avoid any delays or any declines. So, proof of deposit. And the other thing that you're going to need to know is, how do you prepare? Preparing for a mortgage is not rocket science. You're not smarter than the broker. You're not smarter than the bank. You do what you do. Let the broker do what they do. Best advice I can give you is, do not go out and find a house before you talk to a broker, before they've assessed how much you can actually borrow. I would say one of the top reasons why people end up losing homes, because they've made an offer, the offer's been accepted, and then they move really slow, is because they haven't even assessed if they can borrow the money. So always speak to a broker first. Have these documents ready. Speak to a broker, get an agreement in principle first. That way, you know how much you can borrow. The reason why that's important is because the agreement in principle, if done right, should convert into a mortgage offer. And let me give you a little bit of a tip with this. If you speak to someone and they're a mortgage broker, or you go directly to the bank and they haven't verified the information that you've given them, meaning they haven't verified your credit, they haven't verified your income, they haven't looked at your bank statements. If it's been too easy to get the agreement in principle, I would say it's probably not that good. And the reason why I say that is, probably 7 out of 10 of the clients that I get, the conversation starts with this: Anthony, I was referred to you by a friend or a family member, or I watched one of your videos and I had an offer, an agreement in principle from a bank or from a mortgage broker. But then when I found the house and I went back to get the mortgage, they told me no, I was declined. The reason why that happens 8 out of 10 times, not if we exclude, so let's exclude issues with the actual property. But the reason why people get declined based on criteria is because the criteria wasn't checked in advance. So if you go online, if you go to Zoopla, if you go to Rightmove, if you go on a bank's website and you get an agreement in principle, always keep in mind most of the time, the assumption is that you are a vanilla client. So that means UK passport, PAYE employed, not on probation, good credit, all of these things that most people aren't. Those AIPs quite often do not convert into full mortgage offers. And this is why people get declined. So, my advice would be to work with a broker like me. It's a little bit harder at the beginning. However, you don't pay anything until I get you a result. So, the great thing about that is we'll get you an agreement in principle, and you don't pay anything for the research side of things. You only pay when we get you that agreement in principle. So that's pretty much a risk free scenario. That agreement in principle is more likely to convert into a full mortgage offer because I've already looked at your credit profile. I've already looked at all the documents that you've given me, calculated your income based on seeing your actual bank statements, based on seeing your pay slips. So it's so important that you speak to a mortgage broker first. Once you talk to a mortgage broker, they will give you a blueprint of, what you need to do if you need to tidy anything up, if you're not ready now, if there's, a few months, by waiting a few months, you could actually get a better deal. They'll tell you all of that. But speak to a mortgage broker first. You want to tidy up your bank statements. So you should always be reviewing your bank statements to make sure that the money that's coming out of your bank account is necessary. So sometimes people sign up for different products and it puts them on an automatic standing order and they don't even realize it because it's $2.99 a month or $3.99 a month. But they might be making duplicate payments. So tidy up your bank statements. Make sure you check your credit report. You should check your credit report at least once a year, just as part of this human admin in your life, checking your accounts, checking your life cover, checking things like that. You should check your credit file. That way, if there's anything on there that's not supposed to be on there, you can tidy that up before any issues arise. Speak to a broker. And what is the mortgage process? I get asked this question frequently because a lot of people don't understand what the actual mortgage process is. Let's go through it very quickly. And this is the right order to get a mortgage. If you do it in any other order, you are putting yourself at risk of losing a home because you had an offer accepted, but you've taken too long, so the seller does not think you're serious. So first thing, speak to a broker. The broker is going to do an agreement in principle for you, help you tidy things up, and potentially do an illustration for you that you can get a feel for how much the monthly repayments are. Get an agreement in principle, a solid agreement in principle that has been sanity checked, that someone has actually checked that you meet the criteria for the agreement in principle. Then go and look for a house within your budget. The agreement in principle will have a number on it. It will say we can lend up to 470,000. Don't tell the estate agent that you have 470,000 because then they're going to show you houses at 480, 490 because the belief is people always buy at the top of their budget. One of the challenges with mortgages is everybody's keeping a secret. So the seller's keeping a secret because you never really know the least amount that they'll take on that property because they want to get as much as possible. The estate agent works for the seller. So the estate agent's incentive is to get the deal done as quickly as possible and get as much money for their client as possible. You, as the buyer, if you have a £480,000 budget, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to tell the seller you have 480 because you want to get that same property for as little as possible. So there are competing priorities. But the way that you can win, especially if you're a first time buyer, is demonstrating to the seller that you are ready to go, that you have your mortgage in place, that you're serious about buying. I've seen instances where a first time buyer, meaning they're not in a chain, has bid a little bit less. So they've negotiated a deal a little bit lower than someone else, but that other person was in a chain. Keep in mind, if there's a chain involved, it makes the situation more precarious. This is why a lot of deals fall through because there might be multiple people in that chain. And if one person is delaying, it delays the entire chain. So you actually have an advantage as a first time buyer over someone who has to sell a property, but only if you're willing to move quickly. if you work with me, the moment you get your mortgage offer accepted, we will be arranging the valuation. That makes the seller feel that you are ready to roll. The moment they accept your offer, I contact them and say that we'd like to arrange the valuation. I get all the property details that are required and I arrange the valuation. The valuation can be done in 1 days, 2 days, but it's done very quickly. Once that valuation has been done, I do request that the seller take the property off the market. You want the seller to take the property off the market. This way, you can avoid other offers coming in and them trying to get you to pay more. They won't do that if they see you're serious, if they're bought into you as a buyer and they see that you're moving quickly, because that means that they'll be able to get this property deal done quickly and move on with the rest of their life. So you get your mortgage offer. Once you have your mortgage offer, the solicitors will talk to each other. And then the job of the broker is pretty much done. The job of the broker is to get you to a point where the bank has offered you the best mortgage that you qualify for. You have your solicitor in place. A mortgage broker can then assist you with some of the questions, general questions that you might have, but we won't be able to answer any legal questions for you because we're not licensed to do that. We'll also then talk to you about your protection, making sure that you have adequate life cover, if you need critical illness cover, income protection, anything like that. The mortgage broker will do that for you as well. But our goal is to get you the keys to your new home. And we do that by having the correct information and being quick and effective. We don't want you to lose out on a property because things are moving too slow. In most cases, it's not the broker moving slow, it's the client. So be prepared. Make sure you have your ID, make sure you have 3 months bank statements, 3 months pay slips, P60 if required. If you don't have a UK passport, in addition to your ID, make sure you generate the share code. Make sure you have proof of address and proof of deposit. My name is Anthony Lindsay, and if you don't have a broker or you don't know someone that has been referred to you by a friend or family, why not talk to me? I do a free mortgage capacity report. A mortgage capacity report will tell you how much you can borrow, over what term, and what the interest rates would be based on your individual circumstances. So don't speak to your barber, don't speak to your aunt or uncle. Their rate is not your rate. Your rate is going to be based on your individual circumstances, your visa status, your credit profile, things of that nature. So, one of the best things that you can do is probably speak to a mortgage broker, be open and honest, and get the information that you need before you take the next steps. I'm here to answer your questions. I make these videos to share concepts with you and also to ensure that you have the financial literacy that you need to secure the very best mortgage. I don't make these videos in any way to replace speaking to a professional, getting professional advice from a qualified mortgage broker. This is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. And this is not tax advice. So please make sure you check out the description. If you want to contact me, in the description and in the comments, you'll have a booking form. I work really fast, but I never, ever exchange speed for quality. I'm compliant, and we make sure that we get you the very best deal based on your circumstances. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you leave a comment. Even if it's a bad one, sometimes people leave bad comments. That's fine. The feedback is always useful, and I do my best to respond to any comments that I get.